Okay, so I'm gonna restart over the first part of this video, and I'm trying to remember things in order because, as you can see by the title, whatever the title is going to be, it's about fashion and some of the styles that I remember over the years that I in particularly had and before I was born. Now, people are going to see this video. I always say, I'm about to be 31. In November, I turned 31. So there was that. I had to go to Hobby Lobby to use the bathroom because, ever since COVID, and I always do my loops around the mall where I stay at, which ain't a mall anymore. It's pretty much gone. They're turning it, into a hospital. You got like a couple of stores here, but it's nothing too big. It's like every other mall now in the US. Become completely abandoned and neglected. So, there's definitely that. But time to go with some of the stuff that I remember or that I have seen over the years. Now, of course, I'm going to start with the 80s myself. It's my era, along with the 90s and 2000, 2005. So, in the 80s, when it comes to the hip hop scene, the original streetwear, you had high tops, you had Adidas, and you had Nikes. Now, you didn't have Reebok just yet. Before Reebok became Reebok, they were known as British Knights. And there was a picture of my mom back then and, her cousin when they were like early 20s, right? Holding a pair of British Knights that, they bought. I think one was white. I'm not sure what the other color was. And I would like to know what happened to that photo. I think, when my mother was going through with prostate, my father, who is not a good person, went to her room, took down different things, and just threw them out. And that was the only picture she had, of her cousin, because her cousin, whose name was Trisha, she was the last victim who was murdered by the Green River Killer. And that's the only picture that she ever had with her. Even though they hung out so much, that was the only picture. And that's it. So, it really sucks that happened. And, there's another picture that my mom had hung up that my father threw out. That was when my mom was a newborn infant. And I only got three photos of my mom as a child. And that picture was her grandmother and her mother. And for those, it was an old black and white photo that ended up turning like beige brown over the years. And my mom's about to be 61, so there's that. So a lot of other photos from many years ago, they lost in a house fire as a child. But there's a story with that goes into, British Knights and stuff. You had what else did you have? Converses, right? You had them. For pants, you had a lot of I guess your Levi jeans, because before Levi became a high-end brand name, Levi was the, poor man's choice of pants that you would get at places like Kmart and Walmart back in the days, right? And I had a pair of Levi's, later on because, we just didn't go out and afford high price things all the time. Live paycheck by paycheck, and if you're lucky, there might be something left over. So you had them. A lot of people wore, just regular black pants or, leathered pants, which was a thing. And I have a pair of one leather pants that are new. You had, of course, the sweatpants, the track pants. Because of the track suits, the sweatsuits, that, we all wore because of Run DMC. And you had the Gucci and Louis V somewhat leather, track suits that a lot of people from, the 80s back in Brooklyn and Queens and the Bronx, all had on. You had on the kind of the stretch leather, the stretch jean jackets as well. So you had that. I don't know what there was for shorts back then like that. So, I just know pants and the track suits. You had, of course, the Kango hats a lot. And, of course, you did have the flat brim hats that, yes, were around back then. They just didn't come out during the early 2000s like people think. No, those type of hats, they've been out. They have been out. So from there, you had the pop look a lot, with the Jerry curl and the Michael Jackson jackets from the Pepsi commercial one, the Beat It one, which I have. And you had the Thriller jacket, which I do want to get, but I'm trying to get one a bit bigger size though. And for a lot of people that, like Michael's fashion, because Michael inspired a lot of fashion, over the years, not just in pop and rock, but in hip hop, of course, in the streets as well. He's a pioneer in fashion more so than, I gotta be honest, than Run DMC was. Michael was the pioneer for that more than, I gotta be honest, when we get to the 90s stuff, you'll see what I mean, because we didn't have much choices, but he was a heavy pioneer for, a lot of years that he inspired some of the outfits, believe it or not, in the first animated Yu-Gi-Oh show, even Yu-Gi-Oh GX, if you do your research. He influenced a lot. Not just on stage, but also when he was just seen as in regular clothes. That was Michael. So, he inspired a lot. Definitely within the 80s, especially when it came to the bad era, which brings us to the, I guess the rock look, the emo look a bit, with what he had on during the Bad cover album and stuff that, he most certainly had on during the Bad tour. Those looks would come into play most certainly, back again during the 90s and a little bit in the mid thousands, from 06 to, 010. I know a lot of people wore boots back then, like the leather black boots. Hairstyles, of course, were the jerry curl as well, and braids. I'm trying to remember what else there was. 90s, we had a lot of baggy shirts. A lot of people wore the Feli. Sweatshirts from Biggie Small Styles, even a bit before Biggie. You had the colorful, Indian design button-down shirt, or even pearl snap shirts as well. You had some cartoon-esque shirts that were out, which wasn't much. You had your Ninja Turtles, your Power Rangers shirts as well. You had, from Dragon Ball to most certainly Batman, your Spider-Man, Superman shirts. You had a lot of, polo shirts that were made a bit baggy. You had denim jackets that were made baggy. You had a lot of the plastic, color pullover jackets, hoodies. You had a lot of course, tracksuits. Most certainly as well. Jeans, there wasn't any particular style for pants, but you had just your regular pants, every day that, people did enjoy to look nice. I had a few of those myself. Things that I'm naming, is what I wore and what I remember, so please keep that in mind. You had, of course, like I said, a lot of sweatsuits, a lot of tracksuits people really, wore. You had the biker style leather jackets, right? Now, back then, they cost a pretty arm and a leg, so, not everybody really had them unless you had a good job. And believe it or not, jobs back in the 80s and 90s, paid way more back then than they do now. I talked about that, and I forget which video. I think it was on this channel plus on my other channel, but yeah, definitely here on this channel. And I think it was the conversation about the second round of stimulus checks that brought that up. So I'm gonna remember to try to link that video and an end screen to this one, so you guys check that one out. When it comes to shoes, no, not shoes, when it comes to pants still.
What lap you on today?
I'm not sure. I started not too long ago.
Okay.
You had a lot of the there was another style of pants, ones that were my favorite, but I can't remember them. They came in two colors, which was beige and black, and they were the pants with the cargo pockets on them that turned into shorts. So you had that. You had a lot of jean shorts back then. A lot of cargo shorts as well. The Space Jam jerseys were a lot more rare to find when it comes in terms of sports. But, you didn't really wear sports or jerseys back then like that. The things that you would wear affiliated to sports, which would be the hats, and of course the lettering jackets, like the football player jackets, if you will. That's in terms of sports that anybody would wear, honestly. You didn't wear a jersey in the 80s and 90s because they were set at a higher price than leather jackets. They were most certainly set at a higher price. A lot of people, you just didn't go to the mall back then to be going. It was a privilege, it was a treat to go. At very rare times, me, I didn't grow up with a lot of money around, so a lot of my knockoff fashion, came from places like Kmart and Walmart, and made sure that it looked most certainly nice. And a lot of teenagers, and kids brought their stuff from there. People don't get it messed up. Walmart had some nice things over the years, even except for now, I feel like it's just not there anymore. But Kmart did too. And a lot of the fashion that I had that was affordable, because I was already a kid, definitely going into my teens, pretty soon at the time. So I had when it comes to shoes, Walmart shoes, black and white Walmart type of shoes, because I know also back then, you had Feli, but Feli really didn't start popping off in terms of shoes until the early 2000s. But I had just the Walmart shoes, regular jeans, the pants that turned into shorts. I'm not sure what shorts I all had. I think just regular ones, honestly, that looked good. Shirts. I had a lot of cartoon shirts. Some of the shirts that I in particularly wore were Batman, Power Rangers, Scooby-Doo, and I guess regular leather type of shirts, and some colorful ones, couple of polo striped shirts. That was really about it in terms of shirts. Jackets. I had a jean jacket with my name on it that I still got. That was many years ago, though. A zip-up hoodie. And a black and yellow leather jacket. That was my favorite jacket. I got that for Christmas, I believe. And I wish I knew what happened to that in particular jacket. Man, it was always my favorite. And what I just named, I had only one jacket of each, so I only owned 3 jackets as a child. I did. I only owned 3 of them, as a child growing up. Shoes as well as footwear. During the summer I had the brown or black leather strap sandals that would have the buckles on them, and of course when it came to hat wear, which was the snapback 90s Indian design hats that I had. I still have, actually, till this day. And another shirts that I had a lot of, I didn't say I had a lot of. I had quite a few, like everyone else, because they were a bit high priced. And I think we're all familiar with what tech deck dudes are. Well, back then, before they became the thumb people, right? Like they were actual characters that were designed, like people, not fingers. And I think I had a red one, and I believe a yellow one, and a white one. That's about it. And a lot of us would try to match the same color as the shorts or pants that were on the shirt with the tech deck dudes, as well as like the beanie cap and the hat, and try to find shoes that would go with it. So definitely had that. And then by the late 90s, in early 2000, 2005, from 2000 to 2005, you had the jerseys that came in. You had the basketball jerseys people wore. You had the baseball jerseys that people wore. Now me, I never had really a chance back then to wear jerseys, so not like I do now. Back then again, just couldn't afford it. So some of the jerseys that I wore, of course, were the Walmart, knockoff shirts like that. You had the football jerseys as well. And this is where, man, I'm going into like my teens, but you had FUBU, Rockaware, Sean John shirts. You had let me see, South Pole. I had a lot of South Pole clothes. And my best friend, who I'm not going to get into what happened to him, but he looked out for me. He made sure, when it came to middle school, that I had some good clothes. He wanted to he looked out, and he looked out big time. And even, and he really looked out. And yeah, I had some nice, South Pole clothes. You had a lot of Dragon Ball Z clothes back then as well. You had a lot of the Scarface and Bugs Bunny type of shirts that were out then. Jackets, of course, a lot of the jean denim jackets, and a lot of people just wore the black pullover hoodies. I did, most certainly. And I had a hoodie I still have, but it's put away, which is like this white hoodie that zips all the way up and has like dollar signs, rims, and like a diamonds on it, like an airbrush style to it. So I had that. I had the Scarface shirt as well. Feli. We had Feli. When it came to, I think the most stuff that I enjoyed wearing the most then, that you can't really get anymore till this day, when it came to myself, footwear, which was Converses and Feli's. Those were my two top favorites. Shorts were Dickies shorts. Them were definitely my most favorite. Even though I wore a lot of like basketball shorts, and let me remind you, that's the type of stuff, that mom and me could barely, could only afford was the basketball, style, shorts, you know. But my favorites, were definitely the Dickie type of shorts because I just bought so many of them at the time. Uh, Pants, you know, were regular type of pants from Walmart that looked nice, followed up by South Pole and Dickie pants. Them is my favorites that I always like to wear. Um, Even, when going up, when it came to belts, because a lot of stuff, had to really stay on because they were like baggy. But my favorite type of belts would just be the regular black braided leather belts, or just the regular black belts, nothing fancy. And they were comfortable. Like, they were comfortable. I know when it came to belt buckles, right, a lot of people like the big belt buckles that were hip hop style, the ones with the spinners on it, or the ones that were digitized where you can put your name that would scroll across it and blink and stuff. The shirts, would be around that time would be regular plain colored shirts. Some of the airbrush shirts that you could buy at the mall back then at a place called Peebles. I don't know how many people remember that. South Pole, Cadillac shirts. They were a thing for a bit. And one of my most favorites were the Hawaiian dollar store shirts that were silk. I loved them shirts. I do. They were my favorite shirts, As, I got a little bit more coming out of middle school a bit, 8th grade year, is when I decided to take the clothes that I liked to enjoy to wear. And, I had a little bit of shoes at the time too, but I always matched everything, color coordinated to be fashionable, and I was. And what I decided to do, which a lot of people wanted to hate on and wanted to take claim for, is when I decided, what, I want different color shoelaces to go with the shirt that I was wearing. Yeah, done that. And I looked good doing it too, I definitely looked good definitely doing it. So, by the time high school came around, by the time high school came around, it was a lot of the Dickie wear. Honestly, there's nothing more than that. You just wore a plain white, shirt and a lot of the Dickie outfits. That was really about it. And of course, for the hats that were out, were the flat brim hats and just, zip up hoodies that were just plain, hoodies. So them, those were the styles that were definitely in around the years going out of high school, or trying to get out of high school at the time, was, a lot of the dress code that took place. So when it came to fashion, is why so many fashion designs and stores went out of business because of that. The only thing that stayed in were shoes, but there's a reason why Foot Locker shut down here in the South because the employees were stealing the shoes that would come in and only put the garbage shoes out. So there was that. Now, by the time I was in my 20s, leading into my 30s, I think from 19 to 20, 28, I had whatever street clothes from Walmart that looked good that I could find, and also from a place that I kind of shop to every now and then. I used to do it a lot, but not as much. It was a place called High End Fashion, and I still have a lot of my street clothes in that looked nice, that were also casual and a bit baggy, as well. My favorite fit to wear in my 20s, right? I had these red shoes on. I had these jean shorts that were Ed Hardy, and they had like the tiger on them, right? I had a SpongeBob shirt, SpongeBob hat, and a studded out cross chain, the big one. Man, I was killing it with that fit. That was like my favorite fit. And there was like this local fashion page. I guess somebody took a picture of me and they posted. It's like, I guess it got a lot of likes on it, a lot of good comments. And somebody told me about it. I'm like, what? For real? Like, yeah, man. Around the time, because fashion was changing so fast, I got into making my own shirts, airbrushing my shirts as well, getting them airbrushed, because I knew the fashion style that I liked. I had a lot of, I would wear a lot of pullovers, and jerseys, a lot of jerseys that I have now, I wear for a, workout. My basketball jerseys only for the summer, but like my, my Tennessee Titans jerseys, I have like the old red one that's getting pretty faded now. I think it'd be about time to retire that one. But just with my regular, Titans jersey that came from Walmart, plus I got one name brand one. I wear that a lot for, walking. And, where I'm at now at the age of 30 with what I wear, because of me now being older, when it comes to shoes, I wear a lot of track shoes, walking around shoes. Because I do like to walk. I like to try to keep myself fit and in shape because of me being diabetic and have other health things going on. And because, the track shoes, that I get at like $60 at like Shoe Carnival, or like Rack Room Shoes, or sometimes $30 whenever they have the shoes at Aldi's. That's what I get now. When it comes to pants, yes, I have some name brand pants that are casual and a bit fashion as well. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy at all. A lot of them are very plain though, but they still look nice. It's like they're brand name, but they're what's out now. It's nothing crazy, but it's casual. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I have like a couple pair of white pants, two pairs of red pants, blue. I have like the dark blue or the denim jeans, light blue jeans as well. I have some gray pants that look good. I have a lot of sweatpants, track pants, if you will, that I wear the most, honestly, during the fall and winter season, because again, I like to walk around. That's my workout. Shorts. I gotta get some new regular day shorts. Problem is, though, I have a little bit left when it comes to jean shorts because they're still in good shape. A lot of them that I had fell apart a bit because some I got rid of and some I kept to pack them away. And some other shorts were like the plain color cargo shorts, I still got. But it's time for me to, I think, pack them up. Not throw them away because they're still good. But, I'm no longer heavy set anymore. I used to be around 320, 315. So, I had big boy stuff on, right? So what I wear now, since I like to walk around a lot and, work, small jobs, I wear a lot of, your workout shorts. That's pretty much what I wear. I think what I might do in November, go online, right? Because if I were to pick shorts that I don't mind wearing, that's going to be the Dickie shorts because they were so comfortable. They were nice, and I miss them shorts more than anything in the world. So I think I would reinvest, definitely in those. Shirts, I still have some, street type of clothes, but nothing crazy though. Like that's the thing, nothing crazy. So what I have in my closet now, some plain shirts, a couple of regular street hip hop esque clothes, but casual like fit, nothing too baggy. Even though I like a bit of room in my clothes, some polo shirts, nothing too fancy with them. But a lot of those, what I just named, I don't barely wear anymore. So what I wear are just, regular type of shirts. It's like this, sweat around shirts, like just, shirts that you wear to work out in, not the tight ones, but a bit of the loose ones that, you don't really care about. And a lot of them get worn out because, I wear them every week and wash them every Sunday, just like your throwaway type of shirts, if you will. My basketball jerseys, but again, I wear those during the summer. They're still in good condition, but I think next year I'm gonna pack them up because they're in pristine condition big time. And even though they wear like once a season, I don't want nothing after those jerseys because I got them for $50, like the name high brand jerseys that this woman was selling up the street where I stay at, had a yard sale. And she's like, give me $50 for I think there's like 4 of them I bought from her. Because 4 of them, actually 5 jerseys, but there's like 4 basketball jerseys. The football jersey was the Red Titans. The other stuff that I wear now is a lot of button-down shirts these days. Pearl snap at the most, and of course just the plain white pack of, the dollar store t-shirts. I wear them, one time in the summer. And once they get washed, of course, they're gonna lose their shape and everything. So I wear them as, lounge around, sleep around shirts. Or if I have to go pick up medication, I just have them on as I go through the drive-thru. Jackets, of course, a lot of zip-up or pull-over hoodies. And of course, something that I've been investing in for the past summer, which was, since I'm part native, I've been investing into the buckskin leather jackets, and of course the biker style leather jackets. That's pretty much what I wear now. And of course about 3 hats when I sweat around in, which are this one and 2 New York hats. Like, that's about it with what I wear today in terms of fashion. So there's that. And I still have a lot of my jewelry though. I still have a lot of my street hip hop jewelry that is real. Some of it, I gave away over the years, and I still have a lot left. And some pieces I lost. Like, I had this watch one time, and this chain that went with the watch, it was a cross, right? And the band around the watch had crosses on it. So there was an altercation I got into in the lunchroom one day, right? Because down here in the South, browns versus blacks, don't get along well. So it's like black, versus Mexican, right? And I ain't too fond of Latinos. I'm not. Because down here in the South, they give the Mexicans from the West Coast a very bad name. And for those that live down South, know what I'm talking about. So, got into an altercation one time in the lunchroom, right? High school. Then all of a sudden, a goddamn fire drill broke out as a practice, or somebody pulled it, right? And I felt everyone, when that happened, scattered out the lunchroom, out the fire exit door, rushing like, herd of animals. And then, as I'm trying to, finish out my altercation, I felt my watch get fucking yanked off and snatched off my damn wrist. Didn't know who had it. And once I found out who had it, somebody ended up robbing that person for the watch, and the watch broke during that person altercation. Now, the chain I had for many years until I got caught up with this one female, and she pretty much stole that from me. Not robbed me for it, just kind of stole it because I let her wear it and shit. I'm glad I never went out with her though, afterwards I found out some things, but there's that. Now, I found the same set because it was like a box set. I found the same set online for like $100. I wouldn't mind re-getting it, but I ain't paying $100 though. Because when I first got it, it's like $45, So, let me ask you guys something. Would you pay $100 for the same box set now? Or would you still stick to the $45 that you paid back then? I gotta be honest, I'd rather stick to the fucking $45. Because I guaranteed if I was to buy that set now, the watch probably wouldn't fit my wrist. I got a bit of a big wrist hand. But yeah, as far as, even when it comes to jewelry, I have a lot of native rings that I wear. some of the 80s jewelry and early 2000s jewelry. But a lot of it, what I wear now is just, my rings, some of my 80s jewelry that I have, and a few bracelets, and like 3 watches. Everything else that I have as far as jewelry goes, is still in my drawers. And what I'm probably do this upcoming year is I'm gonna pack up the rest of my jewelry that I just do not wear anymore. I don't want to get rid of it, but I'm not gonna sell it either. But I'm gonna pack it up, make sure that they are protected as well. So, when it comes to, and when I mean by my 80s jewelry, I mean like the 80s street hip hop jewelry with the big rope chains and the big emblem pieces. Just like with my, my 2000s pieces as well. I still got. And of course the big ass watches. So a lot of that's going to be packed up because I don't wear it no more, and they're all still in very mint condition. So I know there was, I had, for those that want to know what did I have for hairstyles, and I'm sorry this video is so long, but I'm going down memory lane right now when it comes to fashion. So you guys got to excuse me for that one. When it comes to that, I had first, I kept my hair short. Then I had like the regular kid hair look. Then I had it slicked back at times. Followed up by a mixture, definitely in high school and out of school. I had it in either cornrows a lot or the jerry curl. And then by the last 5 years ago, I just kept my hair down or just tied up in a ponytail, the native ponytail. And I kept my ponytail part braided a lot. And my hair got really long and thick. But because it got long and thick, I started really getting bad headaches. When you get older over the years, it's hard to have long hair because it starts to hurt. So now, as you see, I just keep my hair completely short. Plus, I do have a scalp disease, which is called calluses, which is the 2nd level, or considered the sister of dandruff. And calluses turns the scalp skin green and comes off and peels off. So, yeah. That's what I had in terms of hairstyles. I didn't have nothing else really but that. So, as far as, I guess that's about it, man. It's almost an hour video. But I decided to go down memory lane. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.